One of my favorite shows to cover are the ones where TV networks use their money and resources to help out those in need out of the kindness of their heart. And maybe a tax write-off too, but we'll take it. And out of all of them, one of the silliest to do so is MTV's Pimp My Ride. And here on the channel, we are no stranger to that show, and that is for good reason. It has absurd car mods, funny moments, and, well, exhibit. And he is a lot of things. Sober's not one of them. Of course, Pimp My Ride is the show where MTV takes individuals with beaten down cars in desperate need of repair and pimps them into oblivion, undoubtedly raising their insurance and lowering their resale value. But it has been brought to my attention that another version of the show exists, one taking place across the pond, Pimp My Ride UK. Also, now that I'm thinking about it, there's also Pimp My Ride International, which, now that I'm saying that out loud, we have watched that on stream a few years ago. It's all starting to come back to me. We can watch that eventually too if you guys want me to. Now, when I heard that there was a Pimp My Ride UK, my first thought was, they have cars? My second thought was, I gotta check this out, this sounds good. And unfortunately, all I could find on YouTube was the reboot of the show that's just a few years old, and that show's fine, I guess. It's hosted by UK rapper Lady Leisure, and she's really good at hosting the show. I like her, but unfortunately, what I like about Pimp My Ride and what I look for in a host is for them to be weird as fuck. And high on pills most of the time. I tried watching through some of it and, like I said, it was just okay. I found myself just watching the show. Nothing was funny about it. It just seemed like a normal car modification show with the Pimp My Ride name attached and funky cars, which I guess that's all the show has ever been. So in my search for old episodes, I just kept finding dead ends with all the streaming platforms, all of them being region locked to the UK, and trust me, I tried using VPNs. Luckily, there's a handful of not so great quality re-uploads on YouTube from various creators who I am sure do not have the logins to their accounts. So I found one, let's check this out. This is Pimp My Ride UK, uploaded by Cascroft 2011.
When I first started in the car game, I was looking pretty weak out there. An Austin Maxi, a Ford Sierra, a Wrangler Jeep. In fact, I was killing myself.
So far, the host of this show, who's also British DJ Tim Westwood, is sort of nailing the exhibit energy here. He's a little bit more on the sober side, but I see the vision.
But nowadays, I'm a big dog, and I like cars that bang in your face.
He nails down just being a little silly goofy all the time. But something that isn't silly is saving time with a tasty ready-made meal from the sponsor of today's video, Factor. Guys, come on, by now most of you know Factor for helping you eat healthier while saving time and money. In just 2 minutes you can enjoy a fresh, chef-prepared meal that won't break the bank, or your diet. Not only is the food healthy, but so is the selection because Factor lets you choose from a weekly menu of 35 options with meal plans ranging from Calorie Smart, Keto, Protein Plus, Vegan and Veggie, as well as 60 add-on options every week like breakfast, on-the-go lunch, snacks, and beverages. And maybe you're looking for something a little bit more gourmet. Well, Factor even offers meals that feature premium ingredients like filet mignon, shrimp, truffle butter, broccolini, and asparagus. I myself am a broccolini man. And depending on how many meals you'd like, Factor lets you choose from 6 all the way up to 18 meals a week. So if you're wanting to eat healthier, tastier meals at an affordable price, you can try Factor out and get 50% off your first Factor box and 20% off your next month of orders using my link. So use my code ChrisJames, JUL50, use the link in the description, or scan the QR with your phone to get that deal. As always, thank you to Factor for sponsoring, and now back to the video.
But Bethan's Morris Minor is nothing but a banger. But that's all about to change. It's about to go down. Westwood's gonna pimp her right, UK style.
So you wanna be a player?
You know, they kind of cheaped out here just reusing the same song as the US show's intro. I would have loved a British version. Like, the same song, just British.
Hi, my name is Bethan, and this is my ride. My car is a 1961 Morris Minor 4-door saloon. I saw the Morris Minor advertised on the internet, but I hadn't quite bargained for quite how much TLC it was going to need.
Finally, we are back to our roots with an absolute piece of fucking shit for the car. I'm pretty sure my first video was that Daikatsu Hijet that was falling apart at the seams, so this is refreshing.
As you can see, there is a lot wrong with this car. When I first got it, all these bits were in the glove box here. I've absolutely no idea what they do, but I'm scared to take them out in case I suddenly discover what they're for. And what is that? The door doors are in a real state. Everything squeaks and rattles.
There is no way this thing has insurance. And if it does, I think the only company comfortable covering it would be ran out of Saul Goodman's first office and is just happy to have a client. Alright, so on the outside, yeah, it's a bit dinged up, but man, the inside I feel like is where the real death trap is.
Oh, when I first saw Bethan's car, I thought, what has she done to me?
When I first saw Bethan's car, I was really surprised she bought it because it's such a state. I think she should have been paid to take it away.
Because we kind of get looked at for the wrong reasons we'd like to be looked at, because there's two beautiful young ladies in the car, not because we're sitting in an old banger.
You know, as far as friends go, this was pretty tame. Sometimes when they bring them on for their opinions, it's like they're holding on to other shit and using their junk car as an outlet to talk shit about them.
Please, please, please pimp my ride.
So, 2 points on what we're about to see. 1, we get a classic exhibit multiple posing towards the camera shot. Moi, my favorite part of any show ever. 2, I have to censor the music because of copyright. Normally, I am no stranger to copyright. Literally every one of my videos gets claimed because of TV shows, but music? That is a whole other animal. You don't win those. And I did a copyright test just uploading this episode to see what would hit, maybe in case the songs don't play that long so they won't get detected, but yeah, I don't know about that one. So you're just gonna have to imagine Sierra's 1-2 step. It's not that hard, you can do it.
But lucky for her, we're gonna change all of that. Holla.
British accent aside, that would still sound weird if he said that, the way he said it.
The grill, now this grill's all wrong, because this really should be a Zimmer frame. And she should keep her doors locked, because people have been dumping rubbish in here.
I wonder why she doesn't care to lock her doors. I can't imagine.
I mean, you can really see around corners with this. What are you doing to yourself, girl? Come on, let's do this.
Now, earlier I mistakenly said that the show was hosted by Tim Westwood, but I'm now finding out that it was actually Austin Powers.
I'm here to pimp your ride, baby. Really shaking, girl. Just relax, man. You're gonna be all right. Come on, let's go look at this joint.
I won't say comforting, but familiar that the UK show upholds the tradition of the host being overly touchy. At least she looks like still pretty stoked and not like the most uncomfortable.
Why are you messing with a banger, girl?
Oh, I just fell in love with it.
Okay.
And I just wanted it to be my dream wedding car, really.
What, you want to get married in this car?
I do, but in the years since I've had it, then my boyfriend John had promised.
Boyfriend? Ugh. Jesus Christ.
So I can see your little photo gallery up here. That's all real nice.
Yeah, I'm a photography student.
Now, who's that?
That's my boyfriend John.
And who's this dude?
That's going to be the best man as my mate Yorkie.
Are you sure about this?
Yes.
I have no idea what she said there, and unfortunately Cascroft 2011 did not provide his own subtitles for this when he uploaded it 8 years ago. Something about best man, but it's anyone's guess. If you have any suggestions, please leave it in the comments.
Where's your radio?
Yeah, there isn't one.
Where's your heater?
Yep, that's something else that's desperately lacking in this car. It gets freezing in here. Really, really, really cold.
I know, of course, he's just asking these questions because of the show, but like, come on, man. You know it doesn't have any of this shit. It probably doesn't even have power steering.
I see you've got a lot of buttons situation here, you know what I mean? Choke, wipers, lights. Obviously, the top button is my favourite, but it is letting me down right now.
Now, it's this part of the episode, a very crucial part, not only for the show, but for the person getting their car pimped. The pimpee. It's when they have to be on it, sharp, very careful as to what they say. It's when they are asked about their career and hobbies. Because if they are not careful, this show will extreme makeover car their ass and make that thing their hobbies on wheels. They'll do the equivalent to some kid saying that he likes the movie Zathura and giving him a space-themed bedroom. Okay, that sounds actually pretty fucking sick.
So let me just go over this. You want this car to be fixed so you can get married. You're into photography, you're into surfing, but your car game is weak, but we're gonna fix all that for you.
At the very least, we're going to paint it.
You're gonna get married now, you know.
You're going to get married now. You know, maybe this is one of those episodes we just tow the car. I know MTV doesn't want to worry about that liability.
No marriage should start like this. It's no point having the radio, you wouldn't hear it.
Now, I don't know much about vintage cars. I know, surprise, but I don't think they should bounce like that when they drive. Alright, Tim, this car is not in the state to be risking bits like that with him in front of it.
It's got no heating, it's got no sound system, I've got rust all over my trousers. It's a Morris Minor if you didn't know, yeah?
So the next couple of minutes are all of the guys at the shop doing what we just saw Tim do 5 minutes ago. So now it's on to the planning stage. Man, this show really is just the same thing as the US Pimp My Ride. It's just a bunch of UK geezers instead.
So what are you going to do?
Well, we all know that the Morris Minor is an absolute classic car. Both Bethan and the car deserve a lot better.
They talk a lot about how this car is a classic car, and I think it would be nice if they just fully restored the car to its original form, because it's a nice looking car. Especially one for her and her fiancé to get married in, but you know they won't do that. Unfortunately, they are going to turn it into what looks like a child drawing a Hot Wheels car from memory.
We're going to take this one out the past and not only update it, but we're going to take it right into the future.
I like your attitude.
As you know, it's not going to be easy fitting everything in, but I'm thinking top of the range digital camera, printer in the glove box, and a laptop in the back.
I cannot wait to see that. I say this every episode, but wouldn't the best thing in the world be for this woman to just get a decent newer car and then a laptop instead? That would be a boring show, I'll admit, but it's better than what she's getting here. I mean, they kind of did that on one of the last videos I did on this when they were like, hey man, look, your car is about to split in fucking half on account of the fact that you welded two cars together, so we're just gonna buy you a new car and then pimp that, because that other one breaks code in like all of the states. So now we find out what the theme of the interior is, and it's going to be, you guessed it, wedding theme. She really shouldn't have told them that.
Now, if you're not letting me have anything weddingy on the outside, I need to do something weddingy on the inside. Cream leather interior, wedding theme, very girly, different to the outside.
Guys, I don't know if you know this, but weddings are usually a one-day thing. She will have this car for much longer than 1 day, so maybe let's stick to something more on the neutral side. I don't know who I'm kidding. This is the Pimp My Ride crew. Not even God could come down from the heavens and convince them to not do what they're doing right now.
Well, Beth, I hope you're going to get in touch with your feminine side then.
Well, I'm not too sure about that, mate. But I'm thinking after the wedding, Beth and honeymoon, she would like to go to Cornwall, go surfing.
Gotta say, one of my favorite things is when you see someone with a name and you're like, yep, that's your name. Because that is a fucking biff, if I've ever seen one.
By the time I'm finished with this, you're going to have enough space for all the surf gear and a little place for Bethan and her new hubby to sit down and chill out and watch the sunset go down.
I hope Bethan doesn't get any new hobbies in the near future, because they are welding her current interests into this car as we speak.
Harold, that sounds big. You're going to do me and Bethan proud.
Well, it looks like you guys have got this covered. Me being the host of Pimp My Ride, I'm going to be hanging out in the back watching the telly. If you need anything, let me know and I will let someone else who can do that know. So now that we got the planning out of the way, it's time for the montage.
Bethan, take one last look at your baby, because you ain't never going to see it look like this again.
With sick edits like this, one of my favorite types. Throwing thing, freeze, and then unfreeze. Sorry, not gonna happen.
Some people choose to restore Morris Minors to the way they first looked when they came out of the factory. We're not going to do that here. We're going to make Bethan's motor a totally modern classic.
You're not gonna do that. You're gonna make something very, very different, and we all know that. I'm actually interested to see how they do this, because on the US version, they turn the car into Circuit City on wheels, with DVD players welded shut playing Exhibit's greatest hits, so we're just gonna have to see.
Big problem. They don't fit.
Not good.
Gentlemen!
God, I wish you guys could see this. They are definitely getting their money's worth with this Sierra track. I gotta do a lot of muting. So from what little mechanical work I've seen so far, it looks like they replace just enough for whatever they're installing to work. Not much else. But once we take a look under the hood, things start to look promising.
Until now, Bethan hasn't even had a radio in her car. Her car was so loud, the only thing she could hear was her engine. To resolve this problem, we're going to apply soundproofing to everything.
Okay, it looks like he was going to do some work on that engine because he was commenting about the noise it makes, but no, we're just going to put a big expensive band-aid on that and soundproof the cabin so she just can ignore it. It's the opposite of, the engine's so loud I can't even hear all the rattling.
And so all that seawater doesn't get in and damage your awesome sound system. We're going to be covering it in neoprene.
You know, the stuff they make wetsuits from.
I'm not gonna lie to you guys, the first time I saw that, I flinched. I'll admit it.
There's going to be no mistaking whose car this belongs to. I'm getting some special embroidery done on the headrest to let the world know who's boss.
Now, I know when they said wedding theme, I already didn't have high hopes, but I didn't think it was literally going to say Mr. and Mrs. on the fucking headrest. God, I don't want to doubt their wedding. I would never do that, you guys know. But, like what if, you know?
Driver's seat.
We're going to be putting a printer in the glove box. And finally, we're going to hook them all up so they can talk to one another. How cool is that?
Yeah, probably in 2005, pretty cool.
Bethan, when I first saw your Morris Minor, I thought it was never going to make it to the church on time. Best you get out your wedding dress, because this time it's on.
When I dumped Bethan's Morris Minors into the garage...
I love how they always make it look like they walked there. Which, I mean, they don't have a car, so they barely will after all of this.
It was straight busted. It was a mess.
I forgot all about Tim, the host, and it's only been about 9 minutes.
Bethan, you remember your old car?
Oh yes, I remember the flaky paint, the circles drawn all over it.
You know how people used to look at your car for all the wrong reasons?
Definitely.
Well, get ready for your new ride.
But now it's time for Tim to walk Bethan around the car and learn everything they did for the first time along with her, since he had no part in all of it other than listening into their 5-minute idea session.
Check it out! Oh my God!
You know, I gotta admit, although I don't like the flames, this could have been much, much worse. I feel like we're so used to seeing the US version where they go so over the top, but the interior looks actually pretty nice, aside from her being locked into marrying this guy. Maybe that's just because it looked so bad before. Anything else looks light years better.
Bethan, check out your custom embroidery in the headrests. Everybody's gonna know.
Oh my God, that's so... We broke up last night. Oh. Oh. I really go back and forth on this whole British accent thing. You can tell this is not a muscle I am used to stretching.
Everybody's gonna know that you're the boss driving this.
Oh, I'm going to be driving this all the time. I tell you, you're not going to get me off that seat.
Imagine her asking her husband, like, hey, can you drive to the store and grab some eggs real quick? No way, no fucking way I'm driving that thing with Mrs. behind my goddamn head.
Component speakers in all 4 doors. Turn it up, have a listen.
She just turns on the radio and it's some random underground UK band. Like it? It's my band.
As easy as we can for you to enjoy the waves. Up here we've got 2 custom Pimp My Ride surfboards.
Oh my, that's just incredible.
Yeah, those surfboards look like they fall under the take them back when we give them the car umbrella, which I've heard that's a thing they do where they take all the electronics and stuff, but I don't really know the validity to that. I feel like anyone can make an Ask Reddit or say that they were on the show with no proof and just say some shit like that. Someone will read it and then now it gets passed around and everyone's like, yeah, you know, actually they take all this stuff when they give the car to them with nothing to base it off of. Also, I can see it though, so I don't know. Let's be fucking optimistic, man. But if that were the case, this MacBook is also staying with the Pimp My Ride crew.
I know you're big up into your photography.
Yeah.
So, we've got you a 7 megapixel
Oh my God.
digital camera.
Gosh, that is fantastic.
You can see here what I was talking about. Tim is like, whoa, that's cool. That's the first time I've ever seen that.
I can't believe it.
And no photographs of the best man.
Once again, I think they're saying something about the best man, but if you speak their language, please translate for me in the comments.
Yes, I've actually made you a love seat for you and your hubby so you can sit hand in hand and watch the sunset go down.
Yo, Biff, that love seat's not for you. Come on.
I'm sorry, that seat is not made for 2 people. And no, I'm not poking fun at the big guy, okay? I don't even think 2 children would have a good time sitting in that thing, let alone Bethan and her fiance. Then we also have the storage compartment for their wetsuits. And of course, it wouldn't be Pimp My Ride without some kind of DVD player or game system.
If the waves get too messy, you've got a games console with DVD inside.
Bitchin'.
Do you, Bethan, take this Morris Minor to be your lawful wedding vehicle?
I do.
So now we've seen the car, it's time for Bethan to head out. She's happy with the car. Everyone's happy with the car. I would hope. They all put a lot of work into it, not you. Bethan now takes the car out into the world so she can get her friends and her fiance's reactions.
I didn't expect it to look like this at all. Check us out.
Safe to say it was a big hit, and also I hope their marriage works out if they're ended up being one. Well guys, that was Pimp My Ride UK. Same thing as always, just an excuse for me to work on my British accent, which, once again, that muscle needs stretching, as you guys can see. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you didn't, as always, don't tell me. Type it out on a Word doc, save it to your computer, put a USB killer in, call it a day. But if you did like, as always, leave a like rating down below, comment, subscribe if you haven't. Don't forget to check out my merch, as always, in the shop tab down below, on my channel, or at chrisjames.shop. Thank you, Factor, for sponsoring, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.